The following scenes are based on true events. Oh boy, I can't wait to play my brand new game. Hello everyone, I'm Chris Mozillo Swabluson, and this is a video game review of Pokemon X and or Y. That's right people, it's a brand new Pokemon game. You can play it with your friends. Got any threes? Go fish. You can play it by yourself. Got any threes? You can literally play it wherever you want to. We had literally waited a year for this game to be released since the previous one, or maybe like 3 years since the last generation. But the question is, does this game actually bring anything new to the table, or does it just add a whole new bunch of Pokemon to the list? Yes! In fact it does! The most noticeable changes to this latest game would be, well, graphics. That's right, they've updated the graphics. And I'm not just talking about more pixels per sprites this time. Oh no, I mean full-on 3D models. The 3D graphics in this are actually pretty gosh darn amazing. Sure, the overall graphics look a little quite derpy because all the characters have like tiny little stubby peg legs, but oh my, the second you get into a fight battle, does it change. Most of the Pokemon look exactly how you would expect them to be. Well, sure, I haven't seen every single Pokemon yet because, well, not every single Pokemon is acquirable and seeable yet. But, you know, when you're doing 2D sprite graphics, it's very easy to make things which just don't make any actual sense in 3 dimensions because you're only seeing it in 2D. But here, they've done a pretty impressive job of just overhauling everything from the old 2D sprites and artwork and stuff into 3D beautiful looking models with movement and shit. They use the same pastel colour palette that they use in like a lot of the official artwork. So, you know, the colours are quite vibrant but never too like glaring, and it really adds a nice touch to it. The battle animations, for the most part, just work really well. Sure, the two Pokemon still never cross this sort of like no man's land in the middle of the battle, but with the increase in movement in the actual sprite, or like characters and models, it's a lot better than basically two motionless stationary sprites just like firing teeth at each other. There wasn't really any new like battle mechanics introduced in this one other than like a few new moves and whatnot. But, oh yeah, of course, they introduced the new fairy type, as well as like a few effectiveness changes. They initially introduced fairy type to counter dragons, which were incredibly overpowered, but it also seems like they introduced fairy type to just destroy every Pokemon I ever consider for my team ever. I don't know, but in my opinion, fairy type Pokemon seem incredibly overpowered now. They're resistant to fighting Dark and Dragon, two of which are incredibly common move types, or at least like, you know, Dark Pokemon only get like Dark and Fighting moves if they're lucky. And it just seems a little bit crazy that my giant death bird can easily just be destroyed by a Snubbull. Plus, they're only weak to Steel and Poison types. Two move types that the moves are so lacking and kind of weak that the only times you'd ever use them is if you're a Poison or Steel Pokemon yourself. I mean, sure, great. Give the Poison Pokemon something they're actually good against for once. But fairy Pokemon still seem like incredibly overpowered and just near indestructible at times. Naturally, with the introduction of a new type, nearly every Pokemon you come across is fairy in some form or another, just to really get that point across that it's a new feature, by the way. And this led to me taking Y making a huge mistake because it turns out the X legendary is a fairy type, and thus can just destroy me needlessly. There was also the introduction of Mega Evolutions, which are pretty interesting. While limited throughout the main game, afterwards there's a lot of potential, as there's a lot of potential Pokemon to evolve into their Mega Evolutions. And gosh damn, do they look cool a lot of the time. It was good to see Game Freak actually changing the standard paradigm for once. While we still have the basic fire, grass, water starters, this time they kind of they realised that secondary types can be really fucking interesting. So you've got like grass fighting, water dark, and surprisingly fire psychic. And it was just great to see a different like change from the standard fire fighting again and again that we've had for like the last 4 generations or so. Plot-wise, what can I really say? It's the standard, you start out in your single-parent home, you know, being told to go get your new Pokemon with these friends that you've apparently made within seconds of moving in. And then you get to choose between, like, an adorable-looking Firefox, a cool-looking Water Frog, or the Grass Pokemon, in which you then restart your game because, Jesus Christ, does that thing look hideous. What I find hilarious is seeing as you're a group of 5, 3 of you get these, like, one-of-a-kind, seemingly impossible to obtain otherwise Pokemon, while the other 2 get, like, a lobster and some other incredibly common and lame Pokemon. And it's just kind of hilarious. I also found it incredibly weird how, at the start of the game, after nearly every single conversation you had, one of the characters would go, like, say hi to your mum for me. So it's like, is everyone banging your mum in this game? I mean, Jesus. It's just like endless your mum jokes in this game. And then it just kind of progresses into the standard Pokemon format of beating gyms, and seeing as this time we've got 5 different people, they're all doing Pokemon for their own reasons, whether it be for learning moves or being the very best. But it doesn't really matter, because every single time you go against them, most of them are so useless you just destroy them every single time. But oh no! Team Flare are around doing something? This is easily one of the dumbest teams they've had yet, as it's just a fashion cult. The leader of the group is so freaking obvious that no one seemingly bats an eyelid when this radical thought-thinking scientist seemingly goes into super mega berserk evil mode and starts just trying to destroy the world, as if like everyone knew he had this terrorist group hiding under his cafe / also his lab. Same building, apparently, because it's France. Everything is also a cafe, by the way. Although it is something to note that there was a vague kind of dark undertone to it, as there was this like, turns out there's a giant doomsday weapon that's going to kill everyone, created by this old king man, and like it's really dark Pokemon War story back in the past. But this is never really gone into, and there's just like this 7-foot hobo man that just appears occasionally, and then like he's apparently very crucial to the story, and then it's over basically. This ultimately leads you to beating the Elite Four in the standard manner, but can I just say, Jesus Christ, beating the Elite Four and the champion, so easy. I one-hit KO'd every single Pokemon, apart from 2, the entire fucking thing, and I didn't even grind. The only Pokemon I didn't kill in one hit were like tank Pokemon, which are designed to take lots of hits. They took 2 hits. Craziness. But afterwards, after you become the champion, you finally get some form of recognition for everything you have done, being taken, like saving the world and beating the Elite Four, being a massive fucking parade. Finally, some form of recognition of being the best trainer in the world and saving everyone. Maybe now, preschoolers will stop challenging me to Pokemon fights with their level 4 fletchling. While playing the game, I enjoyed myself quite a bit. The improved graphics were, like, really pleasant to the eye, but I must just say, why does Pikachu get his voice changed to him actually, you know, saying his name instead of just random noise? Huh? Fuck Pikachu! There's a bunch of mini-games throughout the entire thing from the very get-go, which are designed as a means to EV train your Pokemon. This makes EV training, 1, more accessible as it's more out in the open and easy to find and understand, but also, like, you can do it earlier. You can do it from the very start instead of having to wait for everyone to hack the game and work out what what every Pokemon is in terms of EV values, and then decide where the best training spot is for each EV value. So you can just straight away train all your Pokemon to be the very best, like no one ever was. However, once you beat the Elite Four, there's really not much else to do as far as I can tell. Other than catching them all, there's not much going on, because, like, surprisingly, in comparison to other games, there is only one extra legendary to catch instead of, like, an extra 30. So, you catch him, and then what is there to do? Maybe get a few Mega Evolution Stones, but that's about it as far as I can tell. There's not much post-game stuff to do. I don't know why, but for some reason I just can't, like, see the drive to play this game as much anymore. I mean, sure, playing it was really fun and it's a lengthy enough game, but I just didn't find, there's no reason for me to play it anymore, and that's with my flatmate owning the other game, so I could actually play against someone for once. I just don't know, I just don't feel much of an oomph to go and play some more Pokemon. However, if there really was ever a game to get back into Pokemon, it would definitely be this one, because, the better graphics and it's just better game feel and how everything kind of feels better is great, other than the roller skates being a bit annoying when you're trying to get through single block tile squares and you're just like skating over and over again past it. Well, that's just craziness nitpicking. Oh hey, thank you for watching my video that you just watched. If you ever wanted to watch anything else that I've ever done, there are some videos on the screen right now, being a game review for a JRPG that lasts for 100 hours, as well as anime reviews on my other channel. Sorry about the lack of content over the last 2 months, because it would appear that being in the final year of university, there's a lot of work to do and it all kicks me in the butt. Stay tuned though, because over the next month and a half I'm going to be releasing 2 more Pokemon videos, because that'll be fun. So thank you for watching, and if you have any thoughts, comments, anything, feel free to leave them below, or like nail them to my door, or like just, I don't know, flaming back through the window. Bye bye. Yes, in fact it does. The most noticeable of blah 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 blah. To catch them is my real test, to bring them is my core. Pokemon. You teach me and I'll teach you Pokemon.